All right. So, obviously, I had to pause there for a second because I had to get the live stream on Twitter. But welcome. This is the first free broadcast I'm doing, and I'd like to thank Omar for giving me the streaming infrastructure to do this. We're eventually going to make clips of this, and this is just me covering current events and giving commentary from a leftist perspective on them. So first up, I'd like to bring up the story that just broke up the Twitter files, how Musk's doddering gang of yes men sycophants have utterly failed to prove anything, and the lies and deceit and illegality surrounding this on the part of Musk's Twitter. So, just gonna bring that up here. All right. So, from the Intelligencer, I don't exactly know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but from the Intelligencer, the Twitter files is what it claims to expose. Oh, let's read this. Twitter is not what it seems. The social media platform poses as a neutral marketplace for the exchange of ideas and information. An agora where journalists... The fuck is an agora? Where journalists, politicians, academics, and cultural icons, business titans, and ordinary citizens can engage in a dialogue unbounded by gatekeeping elites. But it is actually a tool of progressive power. While you were hypnotized by viral memes, a cabal of social justice STEM majors seized the commanding heights of the attention economy, and they have been using it to bend the mass of the public to their will by subtly manipulating them, which forms of free speech do not gain prominence and or simply banishing wrong-think from its platform. Twitter imposes woke orthodoxy on the nation's youth while insulating the liberal elite from popular rebuke. This information warfare hasn't merely cost conservative commentators followers or retweets. It cost a Republican president. The White House. Dun, dun, dun. I wish I had a virtual audio cable to play the fucking stock sound effect. But I don't. This is the first stream, and I honestly kind of don't want to invest that much in production value. So, it cost a Republican president the White House. Said a fucking QAnon or meth head unhinged from reality. Sorry. I don't want to make fun of addictions or diseases, but you have to be on another level of delusional to actually think that is the truth. So, that's the story that conservatives want to tell about what Twitter used to be in the bad old days before Elon Musk begrudgingly bought it. You know how he flip-flopped? Was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this a free speech haven, bro. It's like, bots. Don't talk about the fact that the stock price is crumbling and the business model's an absolute disaster. That's totally not the reason why I'm trying to pull out of the deal. And okay, well, maybe I can grift to the far right if I buy it, so... Yep. I don't care if I have to sell off the entirety of Tesla. Just make it go through. We can just sell impotent conservatives penis pills or something. I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of weirdos willing to advertise on 4chan, so, why not remake our losses that way? Fortunately, Twitter's new CEO has a deep-seated objection to social media companies using their power over discourse to promote partisan causes. Yeah, because, they don't want controversy. That's what this business model relies on. YouTube as well. Like, Adpocalypse was just the full-on demonetization of everything that didn't obsequiously and sycophantically pander to corporate interests. Blame capitalism as a system. I'm like, I don't know, come on. Therefore, Musk is using his newfound power over discourse to promote the conservative movement's demagogic narratives about Twitter and the Democratic president's son. Oh, yeah. It was always going to fucking come back to that. Christ. Why do conservatives constantly feel the need to talk about, I don't know, Clinton's DMs or Hunter Biden's balls? It's Man. Specifically, Musk delivered a vast trove of internal Twitter documents to two independent journalists, Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss, we'll get to them later, who have long endorsed aspects of the GOP's indictment of the platform. Dumbass 1 and 2, Taibbi and Weiss proceeded to publish a fair of exposés on Twitter's inner workings dubbed the Twitter Files. Oh, yeah. Fucking Chris Hansen out here exposing everything, the real truths of the world. These reports featured a couple genuinely concerning findings about pre-Musk Twitter's operations, but they were also saturated in hyperbole, married by omissions of context and discredited by instance of outright mendacity. I don't know what the fuck mendacity is either. That's a new word for me. Christ, English is vast. Anyway, Musk's commentary on the Twitter files, meanwhile, proved even more demagogic and deceptive than the exposés themselves. Oh my god. For you to be visually and optically more dishonest than a couple of tinfoil hat wearing freaks, that is a low bar you have set conservatism at, okay? I just gotta say it, people. I just got to say it. So, for these reasons, the Twitter files are best understood as an egregious example of the very phenomenon it purports to condemn, that of social media managers leveraging their platforms for partisan and billionaires actually have a fucking political agenda to push, and from the very onset, it wasn't entirely this free speech charade? You mean they actually have an agenda to push and would rather their politics reflect on one of the biggest social media sites on the internet? Who would have fucking thought? Come on. Conservatives. Well, I was about to say you weren't that stupid, but I'll bite my tongue. Everything you probably don't need to know about Hunter Biden's laptop, I really wasn't concerned that much about the president's son's dick pics, but, whatever. The first installment of the Twitter files concerned the social media platform suppression of an October 2020 New York Post article about emails ostensibly recovered from Hunter Biden's laptop to appreciate how unhinged the conservative narrative about the Twitter files is and how irresponsible Musk's presentation of them has been. One must first understand the flimsiness of the article that kicked off the whole controversy. In the Post's telling, the emails on Hunter Biden's laptop contained dispositive evidence that Joe Biden has used his power as a vice president in 2015 to advance the interests of Burisma, a Ukrainian natural gas company that had employed Hunter Biden. In the conservative media's account, meanwhile, Hunter's laptop from hell proved that Joe Biden had engaged in acts of corruption, so wanting that they made Donald Trump look like Ralph Nader. That's a name that's slightly familiar, but I actually don't remember. So, in reality, neither of the Post's reporting nor any subsequent investigations of Hunter Biden's laptop or his relationship with Burisma has documented a single instance in which Joe Biden used public power to aid his son's private interests. There's little question that Hunter Biden was an influence peddler who sought to monetize his access to the American vice president. Oh, who would have fucking thought? Nepotism runs rampant in Washington? Christ, imagine my fucking shock. Burisma was not paying Hunter $15,000 a month for his expertise on the Eastern European natural gas market. Really? It was paying to be 1 degree of separation away from Hunter's father. Yeah, exactly. This is sordid, but it's also mundane. If influence peddling were illegal, K Street would house a sprawling penitentiary. Hunter monetizing his last name is not a noteworthy scandal. Joe Biden changing U.S. policy to aid that monetization effort would be. Thus, the key claim in the right's narrative about the laptop from hell is that Joe Biden pressured the Ukrainian government to oust his prosecutor general so as to protect Burisma from legal scrutiny. No. That's not true in the slightest. And if you fall for that, holy Jesus Christ, I pray for your IQ. I pray. And I'm a fucking atheist. So, what can I say there? The Post purported, keyword purported, to substantiate that claim, but in reality did no such thing. The tabloid did uncover an apparent email that, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that guy's name, an advisor to the board of Burisma had sent to Hunter Biden in April of 2015, whereas, the guy thanked Hunter for inviting me to D.C. and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. Given unfettered access to 217 gigabytes of what was ostensibly Hunter Biden's personal data, this was the closest the Post could come to evidence of Joe Biden's corruption. An email that suggested that one of Hunter's associates at Burisma had some unspecified form of contact with Joe Biden during a trip to D.C. The message does not indicate that the Ukrainian guy received a private audience with the vice president, let alone one in which he got to lobby Biden for Burisma's interests. It's all a lie, folks. It's all a lie. Okay. So, nevertheless, the Post characterized this as a smoking gun email. The New York Post is one of the most dishonest, quote-unquote, journalistic actors, if I even fucking dare call them that, the most dishonest people on the face of the planet. They're an utter rag. They only care about content and have little to no journalistic integrity whatsoever. It proceeded to assert that after his meeting with the elder Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine into firing a prosecutor who was investigating a company. This was false. Folks, they are completely full of shit. I'm telling you now, okay? It is true that, as vice president, Joe Biden pressured Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko to fire the prosecutor general Viktor Shokin, but Biden did so at the behest of a coalition of Western interests. So this is a broader EU effort, and not just, a cover-up of dick pics. In addition to the U.S. government, the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and European Union all believed that Shokin was complicit in endemic corruption that was diverting development funds to oligarchs, and not without reason. Troves of diamonds, cash, and other assorted valuables were discovered at the home of Shokin's underlings, indicating that they had been taking bribes. Yet, the Ukrainian prosecutor's office declined to take the officials to court. Individual prosecutors who tried to pursue the case were fired or resigned. That is highly suspect. In truth, Shokin was not fired for investigating Burisma, but for the opposite. Sorry. One of the West's complaints about his office was that it failed to pursue a corruption inquiry against Burisma founder. So on its face, rather. God, Christ, I need to enunciate. I mean, if I want to talk for a living, I better learn to talk. On its face, the New York Post story was dishonest and misleading, like literally every phoneme that they write down. Okay? Got it? Capiche? Yeah. Never trust the New York Post, people. Unless it's really specific and really niche articles, just go to the AP or Reuters. And at the time of its publication, it was far from clear that the story could be taken at face value. On its way from Hunter Biden's custody to the New York Post, Biden's data passed through several different hands, including those of President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who had been on a crusade to generate incriminating information about the Biden's relationship with Burisma. Sorry. I guess they call it coffee for a reason. But see what I did there. Anyway, this is the absolute nail in the coffin for any right-winger's case against Biden. And obviously, I don't feel like I'm in the best position to be defending Biden. I honestly think he's just another corporate centrist, another shill for the establishment. But accusations like these are utterly frivolous. And here's why. I really need you to pay attention to this. Okay? The primary author of the Post's story refused to put his name on it out of concern that the tabloid had failed to confirm the veracity of the documents in question. Subsequently, forensic analysts would confirm the authenticity authenticity of some of Hunter Biden's documents, while concluding that much of the data lacked the cryptographic signatures necessary for verification. So, folks, there's only so much they can prove here. And they're acting as if they can get like some sort of prosecution or some sort of condemning case, but they have nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I don't know, like bits and pieces of a sex life? What the fuck is that? That's not a prosecution. That's you rummaging through shit you should not be rummaging through. But, alright. So, for all you lunatics out there, fucking creeps. And they say the leftists are the degenerates. Okay, listen to this. The Constitution does not give you an inalienable right to retweet Hunter Biden's genitals. In the summer of 2020, federal law enforcement had told Twitter executives to be on guard against possible foreign hacks aimed at influencing the U.S. presidential elections. These, of course, concerns were informed by the fact that Russian agents had hacked Democratic Party emails in 2016 as a part of a political interference campaign. In this context, the Post's Hunter Biden story raised red flags with Twitter's content moderation team. After all, that story consisted of ill-gotten emails via the Post by Donald Trump's lawyer, who'd spent months consorting with Trump sympathizers in Eastern Europe. The platform responded by taking the extraordinary step of suppressing the story on its platform, marking it as unsafe, and even preventing Twitter users from sharing it via direct message. Holy shit. Okay. In the Twitter Files, Part 1, How and Why Twitter Blocked the Hunter Biden Laptop Story, Matt Taibbi sheds light on Twitter's internal deliberations over this decision. Taibbi frames his findings as a demonstration of Twitter's bias in favor of Democrats, but his reporting does little to support that claim. In company email exchanges obtained by Taibbi, Twitter safety chief Yoel Roth and Deputy General Counsel Jim Baker explained that they had chosen to mark tweets linking to the Post story as unsafe on the grounds that such tweets disseminated hacked materials, a violation of Twitter's terms of service. Both Roth and Baker acknowledged that they did not actually know that the Post's piece was based on hacked materials, given the severe risks here and lessons of 2016. However, Roth explained, "We're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing the context from being amplified." They have so little ammunition, and they are so straw-graspy. I don't ever know how this can actually result, even if we do find, irrefutable evidence that Hunter was up to some really suspicious shit with Burisma. I highly doubt it's going to actually involve prosecution on any court level. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, let's continue. In this version of pre-Musk Twitter, conjured by conservative rhetoric, one would expect universal assent to this judgment, if not replies reading, "Yes, this is an excellent pretext for a coup against the bad orange man." But Taibbi's documents actually reveal internal skepticism of the decision and expressions of ambivalence even from those who endorsed it. Taibbi quotes an anonymous former employee as saying, "Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized that wasn't going to hold. But no one had the guts to reverse it." This makes it sound as though Roth's avowed concerns about hacking were just a fig leaf for suppressing a story inconvenient for the Democrats. Despite having access to virtually all of Twitter's communications, Taibbi produced no actual evidence. None whatsoever. Zero, zilch, nada. Do I have to say it in other languages? I mean, he has no evidence. No actual evidence that the decision was motivated by anything beyond concern that Twitter would find itself complicit in promulgating hacked materials. So this is what a corporation is going to do, especially when, controversial ideas are disseminated on the platform all the time. They do not want to be caught up in that. fundamentally, all these shareholders care about at the end of the day is maximizing their bottom line. And not only that, but also one of the same things, maximizing their assets, the value of their stock, essentially. So this is going to cause quite a loss in the short term and may also impact their profits in the long term. So they don't want bad publicity, okay? They just don't. It hurts their revenue. I mean, in contemporary society, just think, okay, what is capital after? What's capital after? Well, okay, just ad spots or add revenue to the platform. Just think about it, okay? The closest thing Tybee has to evidence of untoward? What the fuck? Partisan influence is an email from the Biden campaign flagging several Hunter-related tweets for Twitter's content moderators, who then handled them. But all of these tweets appeared to feature nude photos of Hunter Biden that were non-consensually shared, an unambiguous violation of Twitter's terms of service, because you are not allowed to post non-consensually obtained sexual material and or revenge porn on the platform. Don't ask how I know. Okay, fine. I looked into the TOS for this segment specifically, and I just read that that's what's not allowed on Twitter. Not that I had any intention of sharing material like that, but Taibbi, for his part, chose not to provide his readers with that context because he is a fucking liar. The reporter did, however, acknowledge that there was nothing unusual about the Biden team's outreach and that the Trump White House also routinely sent Twitter content moderation complaints. Okay, fair enough. Regardless, Twitter recognized that it had overreached and ceased blocking links to the New York Post story after only one day by suppressing it for such a short period of time while generating a giant media controversy about the story. It is plausible that Twitter's decision-making actually increased the Post article's reach. So, we've seen this with the Satanic Panic, and also a component of that, we've seen this with, Black Sabbath music, with D&D, with books that are deemed as critical race theory. If you want to suppress people's control of something, that usually spikes their interest. Because people have, this intrinsic sense of exploration and wanting to find out what other people consider arcane, esoteric, recherche. Okay, so in sum, the New York Post published a story based on data that was apparently, but at the time, unverifiably Hunter Biden. That story falsely purported to offer smoking gun evidence of Joe Biden's corruption when it actually provided no such thing. Faced with warnings from federal law enforcement about impending foreign hacks, and a story based on apparently stolen emails sourced from Rudy Giuliani, Twitter's content moderation team chose to suppress the Post article. That decision was internally controversial, and even those who supported it said they wished they had more information about the source of the emails. Within 24 hours, Twitter reversed its course. It is possible that this reduced the ultimate reach of the Post's story, which, given that story's mendacious content, probably would have been beneficial to the public understanding of the Trump-Biden race. After all, there was exponentially more evidence that Donald Trump had used public power to advance his family's private business interests than evidence that Biden had done so. Yet the Post's story conveyed the opposite impression. This is because right-wing politics are fundamentally built on projection. It's obfuscate, red herring, and make your political opponent's faults out to be your own. I mean, all this groomer rhetoric amidst all of it, and it's predominantly, actually, pretty much only GOP politicians that are getting arrested for suspicious shit involving children. So, we got to wrap up this segment here, since we only have a couple hours, and we've got a lot more lined up in the show. But, we could continue this one. But, that's it for now. And these are the lies of the Twitter files. For now. So. I forgot to loop the fucking clip, didn't I? All right. I'm still figuring out StreamYard. Okay. It's somewhat of a complicated streaming infrastructure, but I'm eventually getting the hang of it. Okay. I promise people, content will flow. So let's get to our next segment here. All right. This is another long article. but, well, actually, no, it's not. So I think we can read it in due time. All right, so just screen share this. Here we go. So, SBF and Sam Bankman-Fried. Let's get to it. If Walmart would fuck off for a minute. So, FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried, what to know about his arrest and the charges he faces. So, in a moment of self-reflection after the collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange, FTX Trading, Sam Bankman-Fried tweeted on December 9 that he considers himself a model CEO. Dude, you're a fucking saint, okay? You belong in the history books, and I am utterly shocked that you weren't seen visibly descending from fucking heaven with wings protruding out of your back. Like, the fact that you don't have your halo above your head is just a testament to your subtlety, dude. You're so fucking brave. Who nevertheless made a lot of big mistakes this year. God, all these people are fucking narcissists, dude. Regulators now allege that the former FTX CEO is far from a well-meaning corporate leader. Instead of claiming that he willfully and knowingly defrauded investors, Bankman-Fried was arrested on Monday in the Bahamas on federal charges filed in the U.S., which include multiple counts of wire fraud and conspiracy related to the collapse of FTX. The rise and stunning fall of Bankman-Fried combines the get-rich-quick allure of cryptocurrencies with the breathless hype that formerly surrounded the 30-year-old MIT graduate whom Fortune magazine once called possibly the next Warren Buffett. And in the wake of FTX's bankruptcy, the entrepreneur has left investors really I'm sorry. I had a very disgusting moment there. Let's get on with it. So, and in the wake of FTX's bankruptcy, the entrepreneur has left investors reeling and FTX owing its creditors at least three... God, I can't read that figure without laughing at it. $3 billion. Oh, God. Christ. Oh, man. In America, you do not fuck with the rich, okay? If you present a challenge to capital, you'd best get your lawyers paid off and ready, because they will come for you. It's like Jaws up in that motherfucker, okay? Within a sliver of chances, there's like a 1% probability that you'll get out of there, okay? Everybody loved the idea of a politically progressive entrepreneur who is going to change the world while making them gobs of money, said Representative Bill Huizenga, a Republican from Michigan, and in a congressional hearing on Tuesday about the FTX collapse. Here's what to know about the charges facing Bankman-Fried. Why was Sam Bankman-Fried arrested? Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas Monday on federal charges that were unsealed Tuesday morning, which include 8 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, violations of securities laws, and other financial crimes. God, it's hairball. The charges, which were filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, allege that he knowingly defrauded investors using their cryptocurrency assets to pay for debts and expenses for Alameda Research, FTX's hedge fund. Ah, Christ, here we go again. The charges allege that the fraud started as early as 2019, or the year that FTX was founded, and from its onset, the whole entire thing was a Ponzi scheme. And this is especially lucid now because pretty much all the investors pulled out at once, but we'll get to that. Is Bankman-Fried facing other charges? Yes, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the agency that regulates the financial markets, also filed charges against Bankman-Fried on Tuesday. In that case, the agency is accusing Bankman-Fried of commingling FTX's customers' funds with Alameda to make undisclosed venture investments, expensive real estate purchases, and big political donations. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission on Tuesday announced similar fraud charges against Bankman-Fried and FTX, alleging in a lawsuit that the company caused customers to lose $8 billion. Oh my God. That's an even more astounding number, honestly. So, how much money did FTX lose? John Ray III, who stepped in as FTX CEO after Bankman-Fried's resignation on November 11th, after a long career that included overseeing the Enron bankruptcy, oh my God, said in a House hearing on Tuesday that about $7 billion was lost in the collapse. Ray alleged that Bankman-Fried and others at FTX misused consumer funds, contributing to the losses. It's really just the unlimited ability of those in control positions to borrow customer funds or take customer funds and then deploy them for their own use, Ray said in the hearing. That use involves margin trading, which is inherently risky. Yeah. Well, especially with crypto, that is, extremely high risk, extremely high reward. Either you're going to be sitting pretty on a yacht somewhere, preferably not out in the Bahamas, since we know the context of what goes down there. Or you're going to be in a pool of your own blood, trying to kill yourself with razors after 6 months. But he claimed this is really old-fashioned embezzlement. It's not sophisticated at all. Oh, no, it is not. Bankman-Fried had been expected to testify at the hearing, but he was removed from the witness list following his arrest. What did FTX tell customers it was doing? FTX's customers used the exchange, and actually, let me preface this little paragraph by saying libertarians are still defending cryptocurrency, saying,
well, it's not actually the exchanges that are the bad thing. It's not actual cryptocurrency that's the bad thing.
it's just the exchanges. Holy fuck, I cannot do that voice. Whoever it was. But the exchanges are how crypto gets traded. So let's just elucidate here. They use the exchange to buy, store, and trade hundreds of different cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. Ah, fuck, here we go again. At one point, 840 million worth of crypto assets were exchanged on its platform each day, according to CoinMarketCap. Holy my God. FTX gained national attention with its expensive Super Bowl ads for this year, featuring quarterback Tom Brady and comedian Larry David. Oh, also trust Larry. In the Larry David ad, when the comedian is told that FTX is a safe and easy way to get crypto, he responds, I don't think so, and I'm never wrong about this stuff. He never is. FTX portrayed itself as being able to help people interested in crypto safely navigate the complexity of what is a notoriously risky asset class, but the company had very few fine internal controls to protect customer assets, with investor money transferred to Alameda and customer funds commingled into one pot of crypto, Ray testified on Tuesday. Just for perspective on how risky cryptocurrency actually is, here's the price of Bitcoin over time, generally. Well, actually, over the course of this year. Let me just bring that up. I don't think it's that much of a risk if you're shorting this currency. Okay? Oh, well, maybe over the past month it's done well. Oh, yeah, 5 days. Oh, one day it's gone up $20. Oh, okay. Fantastic. Kind of stagnating. Had a few bubbles here or there. Notoriously risky. At this point, I'd honestly just short the cryptocurrency if I were you, but, I don't give out financial advice on this channel. So let's get back to the main topic of this segment. Okay. What led to FTX's collapse? Ray and regulators are examining the internal workings of FTX to get to the bottom of the failure, but the company unraveled in early November after finding itself billions of dollars in debt due to speculative investments, including the company's own digital coin that turned sour and a series of other miscalculations. Bankman-Fried has said he mistakenly believed that FTX had enough cash on hand to pay 24 times the amount of money users typically withdraw in a day. In actuality, the firm had a much thinner capital cushion, with only enough cash to pay 0.8 times that amount. They didn't have enough money. Simple as. When customers sought to withdraw their money amid fears about the company's solvency, there was a run on the bank, Ray said on Tuesday. Ray highlighted other issues with FTX as its misuse of customer funds and what he alleged was Bankman-Fried's decision to make investments without properly valuing the assets. By definition, I don't trust a single piece of paper in this organization, Ray said on Tuesday. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay. So we might as well actually finish this. To be honest, what happens now? The U.S. is expected to ask authorities in the Bahamas to extradite Bankman-Fried, which experts said is likely within the scope of a 1931 treaty between the two countries. Because of that existing legal framework, this would be a moment where one could strike while the iron is hot. Michael Parker, head of anti-money laundering and sanctions practice at law firm Ferrari and Associates, told CBS, if Mr. Bankman-Fried, for instance, went to another jurisdiction, it could be more difficult. And so the Bahamas may have been seen as a friendlier jurisdiction from which jurisdiction can take place. In pursuing the case against Bankman-Fried, Parker said prosecutors will have to show that he knowingly committed the alleged crimes outlined in their indictment beyond a reasonable doubt, which will not be hard for them to do. Okay? So, folks, just never trust crypto, okay? They are scamming you 100%. It is a get-rich-quick scheme for them only. And they'll promise you a bag of cash, but that bag will be empty, okay? Just don't trust it. Just don't. Right? Now, I think it's time for a video. Some really, really bad malarkey. So obviously, we're going to take a look at some Matt Walsh content. Here we go. Okay. Canceled.
Well, we flew into San Francisco yesterday.
Shut the fuck up.
At Berkeley tonight. We had to drive downtown from the airport to get to our hotel. The GPS, it wasn't working. Unfortunately, we were able to follow the
I don't give a fuck.
Between going to prison or moving to San Francisco, it would be a flip of the coin at least, because there's no discernible difference between the two. This is what a leftist utopia looks like and what it smells like urine and garbage and despair. So what I'm trying to say...
Urine and garbage. Yeah. Okay, well, you know.
Is that I'm not a big fan of the city.
I mean, sometimes I can't hold it in, Matt. I mean, come on. Lend credence where it's due, okay?
No surprise that I am canceling the city today.
Canceling the city today. What is canceling? What is being canceled? Like just a bunch of people showing up in your Twitter replies and saying how they disagreed with your decisions or actions? Is that it? Like, because canceling as a social concept on media has never actually been defined. Ever. Okay? Ever. It's just never been defined. All right? So what I want somebody to do, okay, is I want literally anybody in the world to coherently define what canceling is without it being just some ubiquitous concept that can be applied to any social situation pretty much whatsoever and not self-contradictory. Okay? So people just showing up in your Twitter replies, just saying how they disagree with you, or getting dislike bombed on a video, I don't see that as anything noteworthy, okay? Fuck, I'm out of breath. Christ.
It has nothing to do with the trauma that I suffer every time I'm forced to come here. It's really a coincidence.
The so-called alpha male goes through trauma every time he has to fucking show up in California. Jesus Christ.
That I happen to be in the city on the day when its reason for cancellation has presented itself. And here's that reason. It's a report from the local ABC affiliate in San Francisco. It says San Francisco Mayor London Breed announced the launch of a new guaranteed income program for the city's transgender community on Wednesday.
Because they are economically marginalized, I agree with this decision.
Guaranteed Income for Trans People, GIFT program, will provide low-income transgender residents with $1,200 each month up to 18 months to help address financial insecurity within the community. In a statement, the city of San Francisco said GIFT is one of several programs the city is developing, implementing, and evaluating to identify how to best support San Francisco residents and promote economic stability and recovery. City Hall's new pilot program is the first guaranteed income initiative to focus solely on trans people and will provide 55 eligible participants with temporary income. Additionally, the city said it will provide the same individuals with wraparound direct services such as gender-affirming medical and mental health care, case management, specialty care services, and financial coaching.
Okay.
Now, we're told the reason for this program is that trans people are disproportionately impacted by poverty. We already know
Yes, they are.
that trans people are disproportionately impacted by everything, really. If there was a giant tsunami that obliterated the whole city, not to get your hopes up, and everyone was washed away in the
Wow.
process, we would still be told that trans people were disproportionately impacted. If a volcano
Shut the fuck up, you fucking bitch. Holy shit, I hope you die rotting in a fucking ditch, sad, pathetic, and alone in a video game. You fucking bitch.
erupted on an island in the Pacific and incinerated a small village of 600 people, and there were no trans people in the village at all, we would still be told that trans people were disproportionately.
Get off the fucking internet, dude. Nobody wants to hear your fucking malarkey, your insipid, inane, deceitful, nonsensical, ineffective ramblings, you fucking idiot. Just... Okay, we need to put the entire Daily Wire staff on a march because, you know, they're constantly licking Elon's boots. It only makes sense. We just need to put them on a rocket to Mars, and the collective IQ of the world would precipitously shoot up. The IQ line may actually make it to Mars faster than the actual rocket we're sending them up on. So, you know, just a theory. Just a theory.
As for poverty, the article says...
I mean, I am no rocket scientist, but...
Quote, we know that our trans communities experience much higher rates of poverty and discrimination, so this program...
Yes, because of people like you.
will target support to lift individuals in this community up. We will keep building on programs like this to provide those in the greatest need with the financial resources and services to help them thrive, said Mayor London Breed in a statement. Transgender communities experience poverty and economic instability at disproportionately high rates, according to the city. The U.S. Transgender Survey, which is the only large-scale study of trans people in the U.S. in 2015, found that 33% of trans people in California were living in poverty. All right. So we're supposed to assume that the higher rates of poverty in the trans community are due to, you know, discrimination, transphobia, whatever. Even in a place like San Francisco, where trans people are literally worshipped as deities. Even
Worshipped as deities, how? Like what? Do we clasp our hands together and fucking close our eyes and pray that everything will be good? What do? Do we pray towards San Francisco? You know, put on taquillas, lay out rugs, and then just like get on our hands and feet and knees? Wait, what's going on here? Worshipped as deities, how?
here, it's the high rates of poverty are because of bigotry. Yet, even
I mean, I like Samantha Lux, but you know, she's not promising me heaven or anything.
the left will acknowledge that trans people they also have higher rates of mental illness and substance abuse issues.
Because of people like you, yes.
That would seem to explain why they're more likely to have trouble holding down a job. And it's hard to see how handing them a check for $1,200 will solve that. And by the
Because it provides economic stability. I mean, the idea that stimulus programs and welfare programs just foster dependency is a total lie.
wait, if we're providing financial advantages to groups that are more
And again, they don't say this about Israel because they constantly pretend that Israel is the victim and constantly give them subsidies and basically incitation to conquer more Palestinian land. They don't say anything about dependency when it comes to that shit. Now, do they? Because you know why? They're bought off by corporate interests. That's how it works, folks.
more likely to be homeless and impoverished, why not set up a program giving a monthly stipend to men? Quote, cisgender men specifically. After all, men, as compared to women, suffer much higher rates of homelessness and similar conditions.
If you're talking about socialism, Matt, because you're saying, okay, people in abject poverty deserve, you know, economic stimulus to help them get along. You're talking about welfare, Matt, socialism. So if you want to extend welfare's coverage and create, like, you know, another stimulus system, I'm absolutely fine with that. So why now are you okay with it? Like, I mean, it's pretty based of you to be coming out like this.
So why not give them a program?
Absolutely. I'm a socialist myself.
But no such program would or ever could exist because the disproportionate impact game is rigged. In any case,
Well, I support helping the economically disadvantaged nonetheless.
we still haven't gotten to the reason for this cancellation. Obviously, handing out free money to the gender confused.
He's canceling the city of San Francisco, people. And if it changes absolutely nothing, that totally doesn't prove it's a completely meaningless, nebulous concept, okay? Okay?
Is an insane idea that will not solve any problem and will only make the existing problems even worse. But if San Francisco
The only insane ideas are coming out of your mouth. Holy shit, I'm literally gonna Photoshop a straitjacket onto your torso in the thumbnail of this video, okay?
wants to continue its march into
And if you're watching this in hindsight, maybe I forgot. Fuck you. He comes off as insane either way. Fucking sitcom dad looking motherfucker.
insanity and oblivion,
Fucking hipster looking ass.
it is more than welcome to do so. I have no interest in talking sense into them, nor could I even do that anyway.
Yeah, you can't talk sense. I'm glad you're coming to that fucking realization, man. You can't talk sense at all.
That's why my focus is not on the program itself, but on the form you have to fill out in order to be eligible for it. Sending data over an unencrypted
Oh, my
connection, it's
fucking
like sending
God.
a postcard.
Okay.
The message is wide open to them. Just fire up /Matt
Blah, grift.
pronoun. And the
Okay.
form gives you 15 options, including co-co-cos, z-zim-ziz, pers, and v-ver-viz.
Sounds like a song. Do, re, mi, fa, so these are the fucking pronouns. Look, I can't sing for shit, but, it's cool that they're being inclusive. Putting these neo-pronouns on their sheet, it's all fine. Every pronoun that exists now in the English language was a neo-pronoun at some point, because we originally got this language from the Anglo-Saxons, which are the ancestors of Danish and Dutch people today. So, things change over time. And that's just how linear time works. I constantly get accused by the right of not understanding linear time and how society has progressed. Well, okay, societal progress is inevitable. So what are you waiting for? You're accusing me of not understanding linear time? Like, come on. You're trying to fight against that phenomenon. So just shut the fuck up.
Dr. Seuss book, but instead they are, in fact, made up pronouns. Now, what is a v-verb?
Wait, all words are made up. All words are just absolutely conjured out of thin air because they give us social utility. That's how words work, Matt. That's how language works. Like, there's nothing higher or metaphysical or, like, divinely ontological about language as it exists in the 21st century. It's all just made up to fit a social utility. Ask any linguist this.
Exactly. And how is it distinguished from a z-zim or a pers? Nobody knows. Nobody can say.
Just say it. That's how it's distinguished. These pronouns, as they exist and are used in social context, validate people's social identity. Okay? Like, a huge part of how we present ourselves is what we feel confident in. You clearly feel confident looking like a pedophile. So, there you go. It's not exactly my drip, but I think it suits you, honestly.
And of course, if 15 options aren't enough, you can also check not listed as an option. Yet the list
Cool.
of pronouns seems downright limited compared to the section for gender identity. There are, according to Libs of TikTok, who took the time to count them all, God bless it, there are 97.
Imagine getting paid to do that. Holy shit. Shia Reichik has the easiest job in the world to count the number of gender identities on some, like, obscure form. Holy shit. My God. Talk privilege. Jesus.
Provided options for gender identity. 97 genders. And now, in fairness, they've padded the stats here quite a bit. There will be, in many cases, 4 or 5 different ways to phrase the exact same thing, such as transgender woman, woman of trans experience, woman with a history of gender transition, or trans feminine.
Those are all completely different concepts, Matt. Like, transgender woman, you can also identify as a woman and have some trans experience or have a history of gender transition. Like, people can experience certain dysphoric elements but not actually make an attempt to transition. These are completely different terms. And I just want to know I'm getting this right. Trans femme. It's femme. Transfeminine, yeah. Also called transfeminine. Here's non-binary wiki. Describes a transgender person, generally one who is assigned male at birth, who seeks to present femininely or to transition to look more feminine, or who identifies as more female than male. So it's kind of fluid in that sense. But it isn't entirely in the self-identification category as trans women. So
these are treated as discrete and distinct identities.
like, for all these people defining woman as specifically someone who possesses two X chromosomes, do you have to karyotype somebody just to confer them pronouns? Because that doesn't sound like it'll make for a good social scenario, okay?
Yet they're all the same brand of nonsense, rephrased in various different ways. Other gender options include
Pronouns are nonsense. Okay, well, yeah, I witness you actively using them, so.
sister girl, feminine of center, brother boy, xenogender, gender outlaw is an option. You can be a gender outlaw, multi-gender, omnigender, novi-gender. If you really identify with if you really love the month of November, I guess you're a novi-gender. And also there's a gender called aggressive. That's the gender, aggressive. Aggressiveness is its own gender.
Cool.
And if somehow none of those work for you, you can always check I don't use labels or not listed. And then what about sexual orientation? Well, here there are a quaint 17 options, a number inflated by the fact that non-monogamous, pansexual, and polyamorous are all listed as separate options. Another sexual option, a sexual orientation option on the list, and I'm just telling you this, okay? This is what's on the list. This is what this government form says. This is a valid label according to the form, and the label is fabulous. That is on the sexual orientation checklist. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm telling you what the form says. That is now a sexual orientation that you can claim and then get $1,200 from San Francisco if you do. Now,
no, it's a rigorous vetting process. Like, you actually have to be in a certain socioeconomic caste to qualify for the stimulus program. It's not, okay, I'm going to check fucking genderqueer, poly, whatever non-binary wiki says, whatever their newest option is, and then I'm going to get $1,200. That's not how it works, man. Okay, remember the stimulus program where I think if you and your spouse collectively made over $75,000 a year, you wouldn't qualify? Yeah, it's sort of the same thing here, Matt. Okay?
I've often said that many of these new gender and sexual orientation labels are not really genders or orientations, but actually personalities. And there are others who say that they're not genders.
Is gender not an obverse of personality? Like, you constantly assign personality types to genders all the time. Like, okay, you constantly prescribe what is a woman to be, more feminine, more mild-mannered, more barefoot and constantly in the fucking kitchen, and you prescribe men to embody these characteristics of strength, dominance, aggression, power, hierarchy. So these are personality traits, which collectively come to form this concept we denote as gender. And here you are, I sort of describing it when you think it's the exact same thing as sex, but okay. Like, personality is intertwined deeply, deeply, deeply with gender.
Sexual orientations or personalities, but really are mental illnesses. And I think both are the case,
No. No, it's not. Okay, I'm going to need a DSM-5 citation for that.
You don't have to choose between the two. But there's something else, too. In many cases, take someone who identifies as a pansexual, multi-gender, demi-boy with AM pronouns. I think it'd be almost making too much of it to call it a personality or a mental illness. It's almost giving it too much credit. Because this is actually...
You give everything, all your content gives everything way too much credit. Like, is this what you want your legacy to be? You're just raging about rainbow flags all over the place? I mean, come on, Matt. Like, find better use of your time.
Just nothing at all. It doesn't mean anything. In so many...
Yeah, gender means nothing. Which is why I'm on board with Vosh's plan.
Cases, genders and pronouns now are like hobbies these days. It's a recreational activity. People have...
And bitching about them is, like, which is what you embody. Like, the entirety of your existence is spent, cherry picking the most memey TikToks and then generating the entirety of right-wing outrage about it. Okay? So don't come at me with, this bullshit about, well, that's almost lending it too much credence. Matt, you are the one actively lending it too much credence, and I'm explaining why you're lending it too much credence. Half of these people he covers are just straight up shit posting and just straight up memeing and just having fun. Oh, Zim, Zairs, all this stuff. It's pretty much half for fun because we've realized, okay, gender is a construct and it is infinitely fluid and it's whatever the fuck we want it to be at any given moment. So there you go.
Nothing better to do, just sit around coming up with and collecting new labels for themselves. It's like this generation's Pokemon cards, except it comes with a extra side of identity crisis.
Yeah. And apparently your generation's identity crisis is absolutely molding over those people inventing new genders and collecting new pronouns.
And maybe this is partly why San Francisco has so many homeless people. People can't get jobs because the entire city is sitting around thinking about its pronouns and gender identity. These are the kinds of things they're thinking of.
No, not poverty, not infrastructural problems, not poor urban design, not residents of the inner cities being robbed of job opportunities by whites fleeing to the suburbs. No, not any of that. Not any actual substantive policy issue, but no, transgender people. No, not even economics. Of course, Matt Walsh brushes that aside because he has no economic principles. Unless it's something pretty much everybody in the 21st century dislikes. No, he won't say any of that. He'll just talk about trans people or whatever the fuck. He has no actual solutions, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? He's just entirely full of it. All right? He's focusing on issues that do not matter at all. And it's ironic that you're bashing the stimulus program when that would actually lift people out of poverty. Like, okay, are you for the public sector allocating job opportunities to poorer areas? No. Are you for stimulus? No, which Trump ruled out, ironically. Are you for the extended child tax credit? No. Are you for actually getting the GOP to vote in favor of not starving infants? No. Are you in favor of student loan debt reduction? No. Pretty much every one of these policy issues that would actually ameliorate wealth inequality, you're against. Because the thing is, you actually like wealth inequality, Matt. So don't come at me with this bullshit, all right?
Don't have the time to think about or worry about anything else, like getting a job, housing, for example. I think there may be more to that
Would the stimulus program not help them afford housing?
theory than you think, but we're not going to flesh it all out now. For now, suffice it to say that San Francisco is, for this reason and so many countless others, canceled. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from Matt Walsh.
Canceled.
Be sure
What the fuck is cancellation?
to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the notification button.
Never. That's why I'm having it on this Google Chrome player, so I don't give him the watch time, so I don't give him the ad revenue. But we're going to start the new segment soon, and I will be right back. So we're back. And I'd like to present you all with a clip I got from Twitter. Now, this was one of Dave. I don't know if his name is David, but Dave, as he's referred to, is Chappelle's show. And apparently, the context of this is a few other comedians had done shows that night. I think Chris Rock had done, an earlier special. Well, not special, but I guess routine. And he randomly decided to bring Elon Musk out on stage. And I just want you all to watch the pure cringe this delivers. And I know that's kind of an antiquated word, but if you watch this, you'll understand. It just is, okay? And yeah, purportedly these are getting banned off of Twitter because Elon Musk is an insufferable narcissist. So here it is. Without further ado, let's get to it. So just watch. We'll play from the beginning, equalize the audio levels, and I'll help you best make out what's going on. Also, that's another mistake, presenting him as the richest man in the world. I mean, so Dave Chappelle's routines have been, throughout his career, fairly progressive, for the most part, okay? But introducing this diamond mine profiteer, this fucking golden spoon up his ass trust fund kid, the richest man in the world, it's not going to do it for the progressive holdovers in Chappelle's audience, okay? Oh, readers added context they thought people might want to know. The account of the original tweet was deactivated by the user, not suspended or deleted by Twitter. Oh, okay. Yeah, I find that extremely convincing, my sycophants. I mean, Twitter staff. Very convincing. Hear that? Wow. Yeah, fitting.
Cheers and booze, I say. Elon. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave. What the fuck? Can you communicate properly, dude? Like, God, he is an absolute, what's the word? It's not black hole. It's a singularity absence of charisma. He is the charismaless singularity. I mean, Jesus Christ. How does he have so many bootlickers that just worship him for free? For free. Richest man in the world. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if there were.
Hey, wait. Those of you booing.
Ooh. You fucking sucks.
Tough road ahead, I sounds like. But you notice one thing, all those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. They have terrible seats. I understand. All coming from way up there, nigga, the last minute, non-playing.
Yeah, because if you get really shitty seats, I'd honestly be pissed off if I were those people. Because this is Chappelle. I mean, he's had some pretty reactionary routines lately, but, I sure wouldn't want, a far, back top row seat to one of his shows, okay? So obviously, I'd be, pissed. Is he inciting the booing? Oh, what's going on?
Listen,
Shut the fuck up.
whatever. Look, motherfucker. This not even trying to die on earth. His whole business model is
Do you know how alienated from this guy that makes people feel? This motherfucker ain't trying to die on Earth. Yeah, he's gone along. Now, I don't think he's actually going to arrive on Mars, but if him and his sycophants actually manage to at least make impact on Mars, do you know how disconnected that makes the average Joe feel from this guy? God, Chappelle, like, he really must be hammered. Because he's not getting the relatability aspects of this. I mean, his routines are familiar. I mean, he's a guy you can relate to, but not when he's doing shit like this, man. No.
I'm leaving anyway.
Yeah, please. Oh, God, not people like that. So that was my show for tonight. Hope you all had a good night. If you watched, or if you're watching this in hindsight later, then, I hope this was suitable content for you. And, yeah, that's it.